Cashel Street parking and stopping restrictions. Excellent. Moved Phil, seconded Sarah. Any questions? Aaron.
Yeah. What is the net loss of on-street parking here? Is there any or none?
Which bit are you talking about? There isn't, because we're just switching over. If you're not referring to any in particular, we're just switching over some resolutions just because of the way the city's developed. So outside break free on Cashel, that is proposed to be a P60, and in talks with the hotel, they've requested that that be a loading zone to allow for drop off for their customers, and that seemed absolutely suitable. So that changes from a P60. The Lichfield Street loading zone that's proposed outside number 96, that's currently a coach stop, so there's no parking loss there. And on the top image for Lichfield Street, so outside of the bus exchange, that's also currently a coach park, so that would be be moved into a taxi stand, so no loss there. And the Cashel Street proposed taxi stand, that is already marked as a taxi stand. That wasn't spaces beforehand, that was just no stopping, I believe. But we had that in place temporarily for the Hereford Street works when we moved the taxis off the bridge. So this would be formalising that taxi stand so that that remains there as a place for taxis to wait to be able to pick up customers.
Oh, right. So, because there was the two sites, that one, the last one you spoke of was, so pre-quake, that was parking right along there. So did that become not parking at which point? Where the taxi stand?
I wasn't here then.
Yeah, that's right, it's 11 years ago.
Yeah, we'd have to confirm that and come back to you.
Okay. And then the other one on the, just along from the bus exchange with the, where you turn in, there's the wee section of P5, all of that part of Lichfield Street was parking as well.
When was this?
Pre-quake, not post.
Oh,
it's been crap there ever since. So I was just wondering, has that been already designated to?
Yeah, it has been. I'll go back and find the meeting that happened at, but it's not parking currently.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Any other, Yanni?
Just where the buses come out, there's just on that page 39, just where the join line is, the visibility is not so good. Is there any consideration given to what happens in that space from a safety point of view?
Is that because of the containers?
Is it going to be signalised at some point, or?
Is this, sorry, can you just, I don't have the same page numbers.
Oh, it's just where the buses come out of the bus exchange and go
on Lichfield Street.
On Lichfield Street, so where they're turning right out of the bus exchange into Lichfield Street.
I think that because the visibility is blocked by containers.
Yeah.
Yeah, but there are lights, it looks like, in there.
Yeah. I don't know. Is there a plan to signalise it at some stage? I think they're just covered off, don't they?
Yeah. So when we constructed Lichfield Street, the plan was to signalise that entrance and exit to the bus interchange.
Yeah.
Because of those containers, we can't. So that infrastructure's in place. Okay. We can't switch that on currently because of those containers that are present. So once that work's done, that building, those containers get taken away, we can then signalise it.
And just, I mean, I don't know if it's kind of related to this or not, but I am concerned with some of the restrictions and the impact of the parking. But Manchester Street is just becoming absolutely gridlock. I was there on the weekend.
So no, sorry, that is off topic. We're just going to stick to... No, it's off topic.
Yeah. So can I just ask, in terms of the restrictions that are proposed, what impact that will have on people's ability to park?
I'm not sure I fully understand the question in relation to this.
So we're putting in loading zones, but there's no parking there at the moment, is there? Because it's all fenced off.
Are you talking about Lichfield Street or Cashel?
Yeah,
Lichfield.
Correct. That has been, so that parking has been unavailable since the quake. So
Aaron's asked a question around the same thing, so it's all been answered. So have you got a new question that's actually relevant to
the proposed?
This decision?
Yeah, the proposed taxi stand that you've got outside the bus exchange as well. There's a real problem for people that are dropping off for the intercity coaches or the coaches that go further away, Is it possible to enable that taxi stand to be used as a loading zone as well for people dropping off passengers to the coaches?
So I guess in determining the use of that space, we've looked at what the current usage and what it used to be prior to the bus stop being put in there, and determined that the taxi stand is the best use for that road space.
But have you had any feedback or concerns, right? Like, I don't know if you've tried to drop someone off there to get to the bus, but people seem to often quite double park because there's nowhere for people to pull over and let people off to catch the inner city buses. And those buses weren't there before the earthquake.
Yeah, that's right.
That's been a new thing with the bus exchange. So I'm just really concerned that there's not enough loading space.
Mr. Chair, if I can answer that one, because I was involved with Mr. Thomas at what was then the Parking Restriction Subcommittee when we introduced the bus stop outside the interchange. At the time, I don't need to go into the details of why we introduced that, but just very quickly, it was because of a shuttle bus that needed a stop at that point. But at the time, the Taxi Federation was very concerned about the loss of that taxi stand, and as a compromise, and I can say it was only a compromise, through the Parking Restriction Subcommittee, we actually installed a taxi stand on the opposite side and further east towards Manchester Street, which was, as I say, it wasn't ideal. So there was a lot of concern about the loss of the taxi stand. So this is an opportunity to put it back now that the bus stop isn't needed anymore.
So, but are the coach stops going somewhere else?
The coach stops are remaining where they are, behind
Right.
the where the taxi stand will go now. The coach stops are designed to be for intercity type services that leave early in the morning.
It's just, sorry, in really simple terms, the idea that people load where we're putting the new loading zone and drop off and then walk across where the buses are coming out versus having some sort of loading space on the same block, if you like, where the intercity coaches are. I don't know if people have seen what happens when the coaches, if there's two or three there, that people are double parking, people have got nowhere to drop people off that are getting those coaches. So it creates a real issue. So it would just seem to me much more sensible to have a loading zone close to where the coaches are so people can drop people off safely rather than kind of what's happening at the moment.
So the loading zone outside 96 is really in response to the development at 96 being turned into a backpackers as well, not necessarily to try and encourage people to walk across from there to the bus exchange. So, and that was in the report. Obviously, we've been working with the local business owners, and as a coach park, they were saying that obviously wouldn't work for their proposed business. So the loading zone suited them a lot better, which is why it's located in that space.
There is also parking opportunities on the other side as well of Lichfield Street. But I mean, we look at all those potential uses when we determine when we recommend what parking to put forward, and based on all that and based on what Mike added before with the thoughts from the Taxi Federation, we consider the taxi stand as the best use of that curbside space.
Right, and there's no ability to have it as a taxi stand or a very quick a drop-off point. There's no ability for a dual use.
Trying to think of whether we could do something like that.
I don't know if others have been there to try and drop people off to the coaches, but it's a nightmare.
Yep, Sarah.
I just check the inner city coaches. How frequently do they go? In what time of day?
They usually leave first thing in the morning. From my observations, it's full on there from 6 to 8 a.m. in the morning.
Yeah. And is that a time that we're likely to see taxis in the taxi stand?
Yes. Well, yes, they tend to be around that time as well.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Excellent. So obviously Yane's raised a point about where people can park to drop off, and maybe it's a case of monitoring this actually once we implement to see if there is a way to have a look at allowing some parking on that side for drop off. But Tim, do you...
Yeah, look, I've done it over the years with students going down to Dunedin, and I don't really, the amount of people for the short period of time it happens, I don't see, because if you look at that taxi stand, it's the maximum would be allowing 3 cars. I mean, everyone seems to kind of manage it anyway, and there's not that much traffic between 6 and 8 in the morning, especially for that type of thing. So, I mean, it is chaos, there's no question about it, but if you're going to solve that problem, it's a hell of a bigger operation than that. So I think it's use the taxi stand. It takes 3 taxis out of the
Okay, so what we'll do is I'll move this, but I might just add another one that just get a report back, or a memo back in about 6 months' time, just to see if there's any actually other issues that have arisen from this in terms of actually drop off for the coaches.
Yep, sure.
Just like that. Oh, sorry, it's already been moved. Phil, you happy with that? Excellent. So how are you going to word that, Phil? I don't want to report.
Memo.
A memo. Provide a memo. After 6 months. After 6 months. On the effectiveness of the changes outlined in the resolution. No. Okay. Any debate? All those in favour? Aye. All those against? Carried.